She go live.
Okay, here we go, everybody. Hello, 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 Facebook world. Hello, family. Hope you're having a beautiful day. I know I sure am. In case you haven't seen my face before, my name is Sarah and I am your friend. And I have such a great conversation to bring to you today. Man, when I first met Keith, I was just blown away. I was like, yeah, this guy definitely has a story. And the more that I got to know him, just seeing him on calls and his spirit and his personality and just the energy and his essence, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really want to get to know this gentleman's story because we all have one. We all have a fingerprint. And as we get to know more and more people in this beautiful company that is bringing so many professionals in business and in life and in the health and wellness space together for a greater movement, a greater impact, truly bringing natural medicine and true wealth creation through impact together, it is bringing together some of the most incredible humans that I've ever met, and Keith is one of them. Um, his story will impact you. And if you are someone who may be struggling right now, struggling with destiny, calling, purpose, I'm going to tell you something. We don't find our purpose, it's forged through the ish that we have been through. It is forged. We go through what we go through to be able to become all that we're meant to be so we can remember. And this gentleman here, I think this is like maybe his third time going live. So that's why he's not showing his face right now. But like as soon as you see his smile, you'll be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna chat about this. Keith, it is so nice to have you with me, brother. How are you, Smiley? I'm gonna call you Smiley from now
Oh
on.
no, man, they're gonna take my gangster card away. You can't do that. But I can't help myself, man. Your energy is so transcendent. Excuse my head being down. I'm trying to figure out how to use this whole live thing because it has been a while, right? I don't go live often, so I know people are gonna be like, "What did Sarah do to get Keith to go live?" But hey, I'm here and I'm here for it. So appreciate you for going live with me or allow me to go live
I'm
with you.
so grateful. I'm actually going to share this live to my page so that everybody could be able to see it because I know we're getting dings like, I can't see it. I can't see it. It's not public. It's now public, everyone. So now you can be able to. And I'm going to make sure because Keith has such a wonderful community, and some of them are not actually friends with me yet on Facebook, but you all will be because you're going to hear my secret of how I actually was able to bribe Keith into, into coming live with me. Oh man. Let me see if I can get, there we go. Now I tagged you. All
Awesome.
right, amazing. There you go, everybody. So I did bribe him a little bit. See that hat he's wearing? I bribed him in with that hat right there. Then that he's like, oh, that's it. It's the hat. I'm like, yeah, and like first class tickets to Bali for my 40th birthday. So that you're coming with me next year when we go to Bali for my 40th. All right, dude. All
Let's
right.
go.
Oh man. Keith, I would love to start this off because, man, hearing a little bit of your story really impacted my heart. Because a lot of the times we see the good stuff. We don't see the humble beginnings. We don't see where life was that brought us to who we are. And I titled this, you know, Who I Was is not who I am. But it is a part of you because it's brought you to who you are today. And I would love for you to just, channel in. Maybe you can inspire that next young gentleman or that next young lady who is inspired, but may think like, oh, there is no way that I can become. What is a little bit about your story, Keith, that so many people are so impacted by when they hear it?
Oh man, you want me to dig? Look, hey, she has that therapist voice on, right? So that's how she bribed me with the therapist voice, right? I just want to
I
get
love
on the couch and grab some tissue and tell my life story when Sarah starts talking, man. But hey, I tell you this, man, it's definitely been a journey, right? I've been in this industry now for 26 years. Doesn't even seem like it's been that long, right? And I've probably been through every emotion you can think of. It's definitely been a roller coaster ride. But there's no even though the quickest path anywhere is a straight line. it doesn't look like a straight line when you think back to how I started, and how I got involved in this space. But I tell people all the time the industry saved my life. And I truly mean that the industry saved my life because it gave me purpose, right? It gave me hope. It gave me inspiration. I, talked about a book that Obama wrote called The Audacity of Hope, right? And some people, are in hopeless situations, looking for hope. And I believe that was me. And when I say a hopeless situation, it wasn't like I felt hopeless. I just was content, and it wasn't until I became uncontent that I realized that, man, hope is important, right? Um, because when you look at life and all the challenges, sometimes it just doesn't hurt enough to change. And Bob Proctor says nothing stays still, right? He says
Mm.
either you're growing or you're dying. He says nothing stays still. And when you think about it, nothing stays still. Everything is energy. Everything is constantly moving, even though it might be in a still state to our eye, right? But when we can look past it and see things with a spiritual eye, we realize that energy surrounds everything and nothing's meant to stay still. And sometimes you'll get in a you're in a situation or you're in a certain condition, whether it's a condition with your surroundings, right? Whether it's a condition mentally or emotionally, or it's just a state of mind. And I believe that I was going through all those things, even, going back to, elementary school. And, I talked about it, having a learning disorder, right? And we talked about it in the title. We talked about from the short bus to first class,
First
right?
class, baby.
Yeah,
That's that's so extra. I love it.
yeah,
What does that
and
even mean? Short bus
yeah,
to first
man.
class. Well, like I guess you're gonna tell us that story, man. Let's
Yeah,
go.
man. The short bus was that, that bus that the special kids like myself rode, right? We thought it was the special bus until we pulled up along the long bus and we realized we was on the wrong bus. So I was dyslexic growing up. And I didn't understand what dyslexia was. I don't think they knew at the time. We're talking about the 80s, right? And I don't think they knew what dyslexia was, and because I had a learning disorder, I just really wasn't, I couldn't read well. I couldn't. I had very horrible penmanship, and I couldn't spell, and I still can't spell, right? And I still have very poor penmanship. Probably have a penmanship of an elementary school kid, but I could read very well. And so out of those three things, I'm glad that I picked up one, was able to excel at that. But having those learning disorders and being teased and having being pulled out of your class to go to a special class because of my reading disorder. So when the kids and my peers would read, they would pull me out of class. And so you can imagine, how cruel as young kids we can be sometimes to see that it was reading time, but I had to leave out of my class at that time and get teased. And he about to go to the dumb class, he about to go to the, to the class with, there's certain things we can't say no more. We gotta be politically correct, but you can imagine, right? They just say I was called slow a lot. Um, and so not knowing that it would cause me to act out, it caused me to be frustrated, it caused me to defend myself because I was being teased. So I didn't understand. And so I started to see the school psychologist at that elementary school. And, she, will work with me. And I remember her giving me a book by Helen Keller, saying that book, My Story, was an amazing book. And, here it was, somebody in elementary school trying to read a book to me at that time. I might as well have been on a college level, right? But she helped me with the book, and I started to learn the book, and started to realize Helen Keller's story, and she was much like myself. But when you think about what she went through with, being diagnosed with scarlet fever at 19 months, can you imagine being not even being two, and you can't see and you can't here, right? And so she's deaf and she's blind and she's acting out and she's frustrated and she doesn't know what's going on, and she's biting and she's kicking and she's just enraged all the time until she met a teacher, and that teacher taught her how to communicate, right, through feelings. Because when you think about our thoughts really create the life that we have right now, because thoughts are things, right? And so what invokes thoughts? What you taste, what you hear, what you smell, what you see, right? Your five senses. And even though Helen Keller was minus two senses, right? She couldn't, she was blind and deaf, pretty much a mute. But the teacher taught her how to communicate by drawing in her hands. See, she could feel, right? And she could feel those letters. And she taught her through writing her hand how to read Braille and eventually learn how to communicate. So here's somebody that's born into this world. Before a child doesn't really start to develop their speech and start saying words until they get to about, 1.5 up to 2 year olds, some of them earlier, but she didn't even have that experience. She didn't have that benefit, right? She never even got to experience that. And at 7 years old, she was learning how to communicate and still couldn't communicate like we can communicate today. And so when I said, man, look at her with her, what people would consider handicaps, or people would probably call her slow, or probably call her, demeaning names because of her learning disability. But she went on to graduate college with a Bachelor of Arts and became the first deaf and blind person to graduate that, and went on to write books and inspire the world. And I said, and that was like, man, who am I? Right. And that book inspired me. And even with the inspiration at that age, being inspired by Helen Keller's story, it still took me a while to find myself. Right. It still took me a while to find myself. I remember, I have four beautiful kids. I just had a daughter that just graduated high school.
I saw
I got
that.
one more
Congratulations
one
to your
more
baby
left.
girl. That's so
I
beautiful.
know, right? Thank you.
That's so
And so I
wonderful.
remember, yeah, I remember having my first son, and we talk about learning disorder. And so I'm still have this learning disorder, right? And I talked about today. I was supposed to graduate, and man, we Facebook Live. I'm have friends on here, right? They're like, man, but I remember supposed
They're
to
cheering
graduate,
you on. Deep down, it's like,
right?
oh man, I
Right.
want to be doing this too. But
Right.
I'm
Who's
just gonna
watching
continue to
this,
tell
right?
them,
Who's
please do
watching
it,
this,
bro.
right? Yeah, for my people on my page that went to Wasm, right? Saying, hey, Dub City, baby. But I graduated in 96, and technically I should have graduated in 94, right? And so here I am graduating high school 2 years later, almost 20 years old, barely, right? I remember my math teacher trying to get me into college with a 1.9 GPA. It was just horrible. And I just like, maybe school wasn't for me. And so tried the job market and doing things, right? And affiliated in things I shouldn't be affiliated in, trying to make money and working odd end jobs. And I remember dropping out of college because I had to take care of my son, and I had a daughter at the time, and man, it was just some hard times. I was telling my good friend the other day, I was able to purchase my daughter a car for graduating high school, and I said I remember when I had to ride my sister's bike, to the corner store where I got a job at, and I had two kids, and I'm riding a bike to work. And I was like, how humiliating is that? How humbling is that? But the desire was still there, right? The to know that, hey, I'm gonna be patient in the process. And I'm gonna figure it out. And this industry, Sarah, allowed me to do that. Right. This industry gave me purpose, right? It gave me satisfaction. It gave me uh, um, the opportunity to do something, right? And maybe yeah, it wasn't in sports and it wasn't on the collegiate level, and I didn't have a profession like a doctor or a lawyer, or, a sports agent is actually what I really wanted to be. I really wanted to be a sports agent, right? But
Look at that. You're doing that right now. You're even doing
exactly,
it right now. You're announcing all the goals right now. You're announcing the swishes. You're announcing vital health is number one. And we're gonna get to that in a second. But like
exactly,
you're
exactly
living
right.
that dream. Like you are the creation and the creator. This is something you want to do. This is something you want to be. You're creating it just in a different way. It's
Mm.
this is so cool. So keep going because because
Yeah,
it's
you
gonna
got to hold on to that word
it's gonna get
creation because
real
I,
juicy
I I
here.
love that. See, we're gonna go way past the next call and get in trouble, right? And so because you bring us some good stuff, and I gotta take some side notes because I want to touch on creating. Just to speed things up, I was approached about this industry 26 years ago by a gentleman who I actually went to church with, and he approached me with the opportunity in the legal service space, and that was my first exposure to this industry. And I was in that company for 8 years, and I remember, my first year and a half in that company, not recruiting anybody. Right, I was horrible, and so, but I had the desire and the will to learn. Right, I went to the events, I went to the meetings, I was on the conference calls, I was, and I was learning. I was getting the learned knowledge, right? But what was missing was the applied knowledge. And I talked about something earlier on a call we did, corporate call we did this morning called the AM Power Call. And I was talking about your teachability index, right? What is your teachability index? And when I learned that teachability index was your willingness to learn, time your willingness to change, right? Determines how coachable, teachable, and trainable that you are. And I realized, I said, man, but I'm showing up, right? I'm doing the things, right? I'm going to the events and I'm excited about the business. I'm talking to people, but I wasn't willing to change. And so even though my teachability index, my willingness to learn was at a 10, right? My willingness to change was at a 0. And 10 times 0 is 0. So I wasn't coachable. I wasn't teachable, right? Because I wasn't willing to make the changes necessary. When I started making those changes, Sarah, that's when things started to change for me. You see what I'm saying? And so, and change is the only thing that's consistent, right? And so understanding that, once I understood that, I made it, my mission and my purpose to always do what I could to evolve, always do what I could to learn. And man, and information is a powerful thing. I say information is the new money, right? The information is the new money, man. I believe that people need to get them some because Bob Proctor, and then I'll shut up for a second because I know you got another topic, but Bob Proctor said that abundance is our birthright, right? He said abundance is our birthright. And I understood that we live a life full of abundance and we just got to go get it, man. We just got to go get it. So yeah, man, change is the only thing that's consistent. And I'm happy that we're here changing lives with this amazing opportunity. And I get to meet people like yourself.
Vice versa, brother, vice versa. That was really powerful. You know, when we talked, everyone, you can, anybody here, you can take a look. You can go onto Spotify, you can go onto YouTube, you can check out our company's podcast, AM Power. Keith was on today. Just wonderful people having great stories. We want everybody here, no matter who you are, what industry you're in. Maybe you're just coming out of high school to have just tactics of inspiration, of joy, of wisdom, of stories of people that have, had come before us. Everybody can tune in. It's called AM Power. We'll put it into the comments. But man, today was absolutely impactful. And you had so many eyes that were just allowing themselves to release. And that is just a powerful gift that you have, brother. And I got to ask you, you said that you were approached to do this and, 26 years ago. You were riding a bike to school, taking care of two children at the time. I got to ask you, what made you say yes to this industry? What? Because so many people are, oh, yeah, okay. Someone like, oh, easy for you to say, you don't have two kids riding a bike to work. But you were that guy that was riding a bike to work and had two kids and had no business doing business, had a 1.9 GPA, was on the short bus. Why you? Why did you say yes to this industry? Because we're going to get to where you are today, but something inside of you had to have that desire and that will and that eagerness. When you said, oh, I didn't recruit one person. I didn't even know what recruiting was in my first year, but you stayed on the line. You continued this even when all the odds were against you. You're like, well, that person knew, this person that knew that person. And that now that we have social media, well, that's easy. That person's an influencer. They do one post and all of a sudden they have, 20,000, dollars in sales. I'm not that person. Well, why did you say yes and why did you continue? Because there's a big difference between what it looks like, because perception is reality, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, wow, man, that's definitely a loaded question, right?
It is,
Um,
so we can unload it. The best thing about loaded questions is that
yeah,
you can unload it through feeling. Like with Helen
yeah,
Keller, it was just about a feeling. It doesn't
yeah,
matter what you say, it's how you make someone feel, and how you're going to make
right,
someone feel with this answer can
yeah.
change the life of someone, and it will have a ripple effect on their whole family.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. I believe that the desire was always there. One thing, growing up in a one-parent household, and I grew up in Los Angeles, California, from a toddler until 1993 when we moved to Monroe, Louisiana. That was a culture shock. But and my mom, she, was in school. work two jobs. And at the time, she was my inspiration, right? Because she's just a strong woman. And raising a young man is not easy, right? And she had a strong work ethic. And one thing I never saw her complain, right? I never saw her give up. And if she had those moments, I didn't see them, right? I didn't see them. And even though, we weren't, rich, we had everything that we needed, right? We never went without. We had some rough times and some hiccups along the way, but for the most part, it was a pretty good life for me. Her work ethic, she had a strong work ethic, and I believe I carried that work ethic on. And so even though I wasn't, you know, didn't have the best jobs, I didn't have the best education, I didn't mind working, right? I didn't mind going after. And so I had that desire to want something. I just didn't know what I wanted. You see what I'm saying? And so when I saw the industry, it gave me hope, right? It said, man, you can go from jail to Yale, right? You can, what I'm saying? You can go from the hood to doing good. And so you can really change. And I saw people like myself that had humble beginnings. They didn't have a completed college education, right? But they had the ability to conduct business and learn how to conduct business. And that's the one thing about this industry that I love. I fell in love with the education,
Mm,
right? I fell in love with the inspiration. I fell in love with the growth. It allowed me to grow, right? I didn't start, I started to, this industry started I started traveling when I got involved in this industry. And it might not have been out of the country, but it was to a different state. It took me out of my environment. And one thing about it, people say, well, why did you stay so long? Like, why did you fail for so long? And it was the persistence, it was desire that was there because I believed that I could have more than what I had if I just stuck and stayed. And the thing about it is once you stretch, Sarah, it's hard to go back, right? Once you get around people that have dreams and desires, and you see people that are succeeding, right? You see people that are just like you, right? You see people that, could have excuses, but they don't, and then it takes your excuses away. And once you're stretched, you can't go back. So people say, well, why did you keep going? Where was I going to go back to?
mm,
Right? I didn't have to me, it was no choice but to move forward. Right. And 50 Cent, who I believe is just a true business mogul. I believe that Harvard should study that man. But right now, I mean, he's made hundreds of millions of dollars. You're talking about somebody that grew up in the hood, grew up in impoverished conditions, grew up around streets and drugs and violence, and now he is his shows on stars, right? Trumps everything else that they watch combined, just his shows. Who would think that he don't have a college education, right? He doesn't have, he didn't go to film school. You see what I'm saying? But he had a desire to change. And so I believe that anybody that has a desire can change. And so that's what the industry did. It allowed me to start educating myself, and I started growing, right? And even though I wasn't making any money, I wasn't growing financially. I was becoming a different person. And that's why I stuck in so long. I mean, the compensation plan to me is just a benefit, right? Any product or service that you offer, if it's helping from a health standpoint or if it's helping from a service-based standpoint, that's just an added benefit. Who you become in the process, right? Man, that right there is no value you can place on that. I mean, it's priceless, right? To understand that somebody like me who was considered to have major learning disabilities, somebody like me who, graduated 2 years later than I should have, and just wasn't a very good student, wasn't a great athlete, but still now, when you look at the top 1% of the United States, I'm in the top 3% when it comes to earners. All right, when it comes to earning and when it comes to what I'm able to grow through my various businesses in this industry, and because of this industry, I even have those other businesses, right? Wouldn't be no other business if it wasn't for network marketing, right? If it wasn't for relationship marketing, people have different names of it. Direct sales doesn't matter. If it wasn't for this industry, I wouldn't have what I have. And so this industry was the basis, it was the nucleus of who I'm becoming, right? And we could impact so many people. We could touch so many people through this industry. So I fell in love with it. And I tell people I'll do it until they throw the dirt on me, right?
I so believe that. You said some really key answers here. Um, who you become, just that right there, who you become along this journey. Success is not a destination.
Mm,
Beautiful. David Nieves gave a great training the other day on the AM Power, and he asked everybody like what their definition of success is, and some beautiful answers. And definition that he brought out was it's who we're becoming. It's the journey. The
mm,
journey is like success. It's the layers upon layers, and leadership is truly the highest paid career we'll ever have.
mm,
And you got to get to know people. Got
mm,
to get to know yourself along the way. Um, that's first and foremost. You get to know yourself here. You get
mm,
to have self-love, self-worth, self-esteem through compassion for yourself,
mm.
humility, forgiving yourself, and learning how to come from an actual giving place where you're truly out there to serve.
Yes.
A lot of us come in either through inspiration or desperation. And when you're desperate, it will show up in ways that you never knew that you had strength. But at the same time, once you get to the opposite end of that, and now you're coming from inspiration, you're given strength beyond measure. You are given this type of magnetism, this type of joy, this type of compassion and dignity and allowing a non-judgment that you never knew you had inside of you that was possible. And I believe what we're doing right now is a huge transformation of this whole industry, in an industry that it needs transformation at a time such as this, because it is such an impactful industry. And sometimes, it can get a little like sidetracked. But then when you have great people that know the good, the bad, the ugly, and the difference, you can come together to create change, because that's what you are doing. We're always changing, evolving, growing, and shifting. And I love that so much. And to know that you had a desire so much in your heart to change that it made an impact in everybody else's life too around you. And now you're making an impact in thousands and thousands of people's lives. And because of that right action, correct exchange, you are 3% at the top earning of the whole country. That is something to be like, wow, because you didn't give up. I want to shift gears just a little bit here, because you had success in this industry in, the last 26 years. So knowing what you're seeing here, why did you decide to come over to Vital Health? It's a newer company, just getting our roots deepened. And hearing the stories of different people that are coming on board, some of the greatest that I've ever seen in this industry, to be honest. And it's honest, it's crazy. I thought I knew this industry until I got to know Vital Health. Like, oh my God, like there's a whole other side of this industry, and incredible human beings that are just so aligned and magnetic in different colors of the rainbow, including yourself, Keith. And what I love so much is being in this industry now. It's been 8 years. I've seen a lot of women, and for the first time, I'm seeing actually more, I'm partnered more with men than I am women, and it's such a healthy balance. And it's so beautiful to see, because like I'm learning so much. Um, why Vital Health? Why, like, you know numbers, and that's something that I really respect and honor. But you know the industry. Why, when you took a look at Vital Health, did you say, okay, you know what? No, like we're gonna come over here.
Wow, wow. I mean, that's a great question, um, and man, man, I can approach that question by so many different ways. But I had to say this because I don't want to make the answer long, because I saw a lot when I saw this company. But I knew that I was going to make a transition, because my previous company, the alignment was off, right? Great people over there. The vision, how it started, was amazing. I was over there for 3 years. We built the organization of about 10,000 people. And it was, the journey was great. But the alignment wasn't there anymore. The vision wasn't the same, and it didn't line up with my vision, and it didn't line up with some of the visions of the leaders who I was working with. And so in that, we were looking. And I thought the transition was going to be long and vigorous, right? I thought I was going to have to, go here and travel here, and it wasn't like that, right? I went to Puerto Rico, and I remember one of my mentors say he would go to Puerto Rico and meditate, and the weather is great meditation weather, right? And so I went to Puerto Rico and meditated. And when I came back, I said, I was going to start looking, and I did, research some things while I was there, and just really just nothing just really resonated with me. I couldn't even get through some of the compensation plans, and so I was like, it's just redundant. Like, man, I've seen this before, seen that before. And then I, picked up the phone and reached out to a gentleman by the name of Eric Eve, like my birthday twin, right? Our birthdays is same month, same day. Just a little older than
Which is
him.
what day? What's your birthday?
July 17th.
Oh, you're Cancer.
Yeah,
You're
we
Cancer.
can. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so is my dad. You're born 2 days after my father. Good.
Well,
Shout out to my pops out in Greece. All right, I love you.
that's what's up. That's what's up.
No wonder why you're Mr. Smiling. Now that makes all the sense in the world. Okay, anyway.
Right, right. And so yeah, under the meme mug, right? I don't know why I'm smiling so much today. But but
You
yeah,
have
so
a lot to smile about,
I know,
buddy.
right? I should. I
Look
should.
at that smile. Come on.
Don't do that, don't do that. But look, so yeah, I told you they're gonna pull my gangster card away from me. But I reached out to
It's
Eric,
still there.
right?
It's still G card.
It's
You still
there.
got
It's
the G
there. Don't
card.
test it. Don't test it. Right? It's definitely there. And so I reached out to Eric, man, Eric Eve, and I asked him. I was actually inquiring about a company that he was a part of, um, you know, a few months ago, and well, about a few years ago, when I got involved in my previous company. So I want to see how things was going over there, and I was just checking. This time I was like, I'm gonna start checking, and he said, well, actually, I'm with a company called Vital Health, and so that was like around March the 20th, somewhere up in there, and 19th, something like that. And I asked him to send me the information. And I tell you, man, I could not stop watching the video. I could not stop watching the video. And more intriguing enough, the compensation plan in itself was unique. And I feel like it was very fair and very generous. And I said, well, I just need a little bit more information on it. But the products is what really caught my eye, right? I knew where we was going in this industry. I knew that, man, the information that people have access to now, people want to be becoming more health conscious. See, information raises a level of consciousness, right? Maybe sometimes, maybe and it's not always good consciousness, right? But it still raises your level of consciousness. It gives you a level of awareness, and people are more conscious towards living and want to live a healthy lifestyle. You see all these health and wellness and nutritional products and Whole Foods this and superfoods that and super greens this and you know uh you know uh coffee this, mushroom coffee that. I mean, it's out there, right? So I saw something unique about the products. And so when I, asked him, I said, man, you got to get me on a Zoom with somebody. And he got me on a Zoom with David and with Alex and with Brooke. Uh, and one of my business partners is over here now, Eric Carter, aka Easy, right? Newly promoted Diamond. I mean, we looked at this together, and then we got excited about it. It checked off all the boxes, and it just it was to me, it was a well put together company, very smart in what they're doing and how the alignment came about. And it wasn't just another Me Too company, right? You're talking about products. They have products that had already been proven and tested. And when you look at most companies, a lot of times when you start those companies, they start with a product that might not be proven and tested. Um, and we don't know if it can stand the test of time in the marketplace, right? We don't know the cost of the manufacturing of the product. We don't know about the distribution of the product. What I'm saying? We don't know if the product's going to continue to trend or not trend. We don't know these things, but most companies in this space start out that way, right? Most companies in this space outsource their distribution, or they outsource their marketing, or they outsource the labs and things of that nature. They really don't have price control when it comes to their products. And so this company had that together, right? When you look at Dr. Tony and his story, man, and man, hopefully people watching this get an opportunity to hear his story. But an amazing story how this man turned tragedy into triumph, right? The pain that he went through, and he's able to turn that pain through his purpose, and losing both his parents to medical illnesses, and making a promise to his mother that he would change the world, and he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. See, That's that win formula, right? That desire was there, and he started out in his garage and to grow into he to what he grew to. Most people think like right there he had reached the peak and the pinnacle, right? To start off in your garage and have clinics to now where people are flying all over to try your products, where people are as a 6 month, 8 month waiting list just to get access to it. And of course, we don't make no health claims. We don't claim to cure anything, but we do have people that have some miraculous testimonies from these products, me being one. And I've been in this industry for a while. 26 years, I've tried some things, right? I've,
Yeah.
I've, I've tried and experienced some great products in this industry, some that which have had an impact on my life, but what these products did for me within the first, 10 to 15 days was astonishing, right? What was it able to do for my pain reduction? I've dealt with chronic pain in my feet for years. And for it to be gone, I went to the doctor today, right? I'm gonna share that testimony later, but on a future Zoom, future call. But what just the results that I was having and the conversation I had with my doctor, and I was even more inspired and fired up about the products. And it's been a long time since I've got involved with a business and been fired up about the products. And then
Mm.
when you take Alex and what he was able to do with his compensation plan, I mean, this compensation plan is brilliant. It's brilliant. I thought I seen them all, right? But I tell you, this is in the business industry 26 years and I have my biggest first month in this company, my biggest first month in 26 years in this company.
In
That
a
just,
brand new company,
oh
in a
man, it's
brand new
crazy.
company, just launching. And we
Yeah,
haven't even launched in Canada yet. We are baby
exactly.
beta launch, soft launch in Canada. Guys, please
It's
pay
insane.
attention. This is for you. This is not for us. We already
Yeah,
know. We
yeah,
already know
man.
what's
This,
gonna happen. Like this
yeah,
is the thing.
yeah.
This is for you guys. Like we're so humble. Like, yep, you know, just get to know us, yeah, over here. We're not like, oh, you guys gotta
No,
go.
man.
It's like we got the best and the best. And it's like, oh my
Like,
gosh, it's like,
and people, one thing about it, because one thing we know that is when people come and they see it and they experience for themselves, right? It doesn't have to be forced upon anybody. We don't have to yell it from the mountaintops. People are coming, they're experiencing the products, they're experiencing the compensation plan, they're experiencing the leadership. And we're just doing things different. And that's what attracted this company to me. And I understood how important it is to own your own distribution, right? To own your own manufacturing, to own your own labs, right? To own everything in-house. And the fact that we're in Mexico just gives us a real unfair advantage because, our cost of goods and our cost of labor and our manufacturing costs, all those are very moderate, right? And we're able to take that money and put it back into the field. And that's why we're experiencing the growth that we're experiencing. I mean, Sarah, you think about it, when I heard about the company, and I heard about what they did, and I heard the story about what they did their first year, 1 million, right? Then their second year, 4 million, and then to go to over 40 million, have a 720% growth over 3 years. I've never experienced that before, right? I've never heard of anything like that before. I know it comes out there that have had some immaculate growth and there's some great stories in the industry. But I wasn't, I'm actually have an opportunity to live the experience. It's a difference, right? It's one thing to hear about it. It's one thing to say, oh yeah, that company did that. It was a great company. But when you have an opportunity and it's your turn, and see, that's where that never quitting comes into place, right? 26 years of never quitting. It's just my turn, right?
yeah,
Because I didn't quit. Everybody gets a turn when you don't quit. It's just my turn. Right? It didn't take me 8 days. Still, I think still the fastest diamond in the company, right? That's what I
yes.
heard.
I was
You know what I'm
like, it was
saying?
like a week.
eight,
It's not even a
eight,
week.
yeah, 8 days
I-
was fast. And I tell you, it didn't have nothing to do with it. It's not because of skill set. It's not because of experience. It's because of the way this system, right? This plan is set up. It's set up for speed. And it's set up to for you to grow your business very quickly. And that's what I appreciate, and that's what I'm grateful about when it comes to this business model that we have over here. It's just genius. It's a breath of fresh air. And so we're 8 days. I mean, it'll probably be somebody come over and do it faster than that. You see
And
what I'm saying?
and
That's the opportunity that we
isn't
have
that
over here.
amazing? And isn't that
Yeah.
amazing? And it will. It will. Well,
Mhm.
and to just to think that we're projected to over 100 million, if not 200 million this year. And we're still, as English speaking market, 2% of the whole company. And when you think about that, it's mind boggling. And you sit back and you said, thank you, because this is your time. And you played the most beautiful song as you left the AM Power. And just that, like, that will, that will, like everything's coming together as like the will to win. I am gonna win. I will win. I am winning. It was just like we are all dancing together as a tribe, as a community, and it felt so good. And I would love for you to close if there is somebody watching that you can really impact and empower today who is like, oh, like, man, maybe I want to reach out to Keith. um, Please do, by the way, if you are watching this, please do. Please reach out because he is a great guide, a mentor, a friend, and someone who could help you, just by his story, by his mentorship. Because what we are building here is not a pyramid, we're bringing circles. We are one team, one industry, creating change, creating impact, and really bringing people back to our ancient roots of healing and also to the ancient roots of what this industry was built upon. And that I think is absolutely powerful. We're making this industry great again, one person at a time with the great people that are coming in and the right people are coming in because you cannot get in the way of the divine. What the
Mm,
divine and your destiny plan has in store for you, there is no way that you can turn away from it. And I am so grateful. Keith, if there's one thing that you can leave with someone who may feel a little inspired today, who may be looking for a career change or is desperate for change, what could you leave that person with today to maybe make that inspired action and the will to keep going?
mm. Man, man, man. Um, I heard a quote one time, and it says, "Until the pain of remaining the same outweigh the pain of change, only then will one change." Right? And then so, you might be like I was, and you know that you want to change, right? You know that you want to change, and but you don't know where that change is going to come from. You don't know what you're going to do. All right. You don't know how you're going to do it. But the desire is there. You know that you deserve more than what you have right now. Right. Um, you got to make that decision to change. You got to make that decision to get an environment. And, what I'm saying? It's not really about the money, even though, man, it's people on my team that are making more money than they've ever made before in this space, right? It's not about the products. And we have some amazing products, hands down. I think we got the best products out there, right? They're just some amazing products. But it's about connecting with people, having that alignment, and putting yourself in an environment where you can grow. Right. And one thing I said checks off the boxes, but the main box that I was looking for was impact. Right. I was looking for impact, leadership that would have impact, right? After 26 years, who can I find to stretch me? And when you peel back the layers and the layers and the layers of leadership, even with yourself and your energy is so amazing, transcending, right? And I know that, people on your team or people that connect to you or people that are watching this and want to be connected to you. I tell you right now, this is important to align yourself with the right people so you can be nourished, right? Nourished and not just nourished through our products. Our products are very nourishing and not just nourished through our compensation plan because you can get that financial nourishment too. I'm talking about that nourishment that cultivates you, right? That nourishment that helps you grow mentally, right? That nourishment where you can plant yourself over here and understand that you're planted somewhere where your roots are connected to multiple layers of leadership. And that's what's most important, right? Because you can tell a tree by the fruit that it bears. And I'm telling you, we're going to bear some fruit over here. We're going to bear some fruit over here that's going to nourish the souls of men and women and inspire them to grow, right? That's what we have over here. And that's what I seen over here. And that's what attracted me. It was the alignment. So, man, I say if you're looking for alignment, if you're looking to find that purpose, see, I found my purpose. My purpose, people say, the hardest thing for me was to find my purpose in life. And I said that, all I want to do was provide for myself. I said, if I can just put my mask on first, if I can just provide for me, if I can just get myself out of this condition, out of this poverty environment, if I can get myself to a point where I'm not working odd and end jobs, if I can just provide for myself, then I said that would be enough. Then maybe I can start providing like I should for my kids. Maybe I should be able to provide for my family. And then I realized that being a provider was my purpose. I realized that God said, you're not going to be able to provide for you. You're not going to be able to provide for your family, but you're going to be a provider of nations, right? And this industry gives me that platform to provide. And that's my purpose in life, is to be a provider, because we are should be the head and not the tail, right? We should be the lender and not the borrower. And some people say, man, people always borrowing money, always asking for money. Well, you could be the one asking, right? Push down, shaking together, and running over is how our blessings are supposed to come. Abundance is our birthright, Sarah. I appreciate you for letting
Abundance.
me share.
Put that in the comments, somebody, please. We can't see who's commenting,
Yes.
and I know we're going to go back and we're going to see an abundance of love, of joy, of appreciation, because abundance is our birthright. And I love, oh man, I felt it so much when you were talking about being nourished by your people, nourished in connection, nourished in community, because that
Mm,
is something that we are so in need of. And when you can bring that together and literally milk it, like it, I can see like just a milking of nourishment. It's like a rainfall of nourishment, and it's one person after another, just feeling a sense of belonging, feeling a sense of, you know, so many different colors of the rainbow, feeling aligned, feeling in purpose and drive. You know, you forge to make that happen for yourself. By not being able to provide for yourself in the past, you are like you forge your purpose to be able to do that. And that is absolute success, because that is your journey. Thank you so much, Keith, for being here today, for being on your third live. And like, I don't even know how long, since 2008 when Facebook became like Facebook. And I am gonna tell you, you know, when you have a little bit of magnetism to you, I'm gonna tell you,
yeah,
and you get a
yeah.
little rhyme every now and again, you're gonna make friends like him. Okay, so
Hey, yeah, this might be the start of something new for me.
I tell you, I think you already started your podcast called Diamond Talk with Keith Williams. All right.
Let's
I think
go.
that is,
Let's
and
go.
then you go and you start to interview your community and hearing their stories, because that's how we grow and we shift. We all have a unique fingerprint, each and every one of us. It's all it This is our life, and this is how we grow together and inspire together. You guys that didn't know Keith before this live, now you know him, a little bit more of him, and you can add him. Keith, how can people get a hold of you, brother? Like, are you on Instagram, like
Yeah,
Facebook? Like, I
I'm on.
obviously on Facebook, but
I'm on.
how do you, if people want to connect with you, like, man, I just saw this live that you did, or, you know, like a reel that was made out of this, like, bro, this was so good. Like, how do I connect with you?
They can page me.
Are you gonna He just so old school. If
Hit me
anything,
on the
it does
hit me
have
on
a
the
page for
Motorola two way, right? No, I'm just
where's
playing.
your
I'm
Carters?
just
Where's your
playing.
Carters? Where's your
I'm
Carters?
just playing, man. But they know I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm definitely not hard to find. But if you find me right, I'll find you too as well.
Oh God, but that was so good. I'm raining quarters.
Period.
I'm gonna find Keith one page after another after. Oh God, who is this? Oh, I'm gonna get onto the
PayPal. I'm gonna find a
payphone.
payphone
I
and
don't even
call
know
them.
what it's called.
Yeah,
I think I was
yeah,
a child when I used them. Oh man, anybody who doesn't know what a payphone is, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Thank you
yeah.
so much, brother. If you enjoyed this, please like love it, share it, give some love to Keith, and let's grow this beautiful community. I cannot wait to hear it, more of your communities and your friends, their testimonials, because what we're doing here is bringing people back into the wisdom of nature, and we're being simple again. And that's just, man, that feels so good. So thank you, Keith, brother. Have yourself a beautiful day, and all the best to you this weekend at your beautiful event in Dallas. I
Yes.
know there's going to be so many more to come. Hey, if someone's in Dallas and they want to come check you out, where is this?
Hey man, 23rd, 24th, Renaissance off of Luna at 635. It's going down 24th, man. Registration at 9:30. We're gonna get the thing kicked off about 10. It's gonna be an amazing event. The lineup is amazing. I mean, Eric Carter, man, Stephanie Wise Scott, you got our Vice President David, you got Brooke, you got Miles, right? You got Heidi and Jane. I mean, it's gonna be off the chain, right? And
So
so
good. And they got you.
Eric
And
Eve
they
is
got you.
hosting. We got
Ooh,
people flying in. It's gonna be an amazing, man. It's gonna be a movie. It's gonna be a movie. I'm
it's
excited
gonna be
about
a
it.
movie. It's
I'm
gonna be a
excited
movie.
about
I'm gonna have to go to the number two. All right. I'll be a
it.
number two.
Yeah,
Okay. And
registration is
again,
still open. Yeah. It's a
that will
free
be
event.
what's coming.
It's a free event, man. So they can go, look on my page, find a registration link. and get registered. It's gonna be amazing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. And I know that this is the beginning of Keith's Diamond Talk with Keith Williams coming up soon. All right. Let's see a podcast coming to you soon. Number one podcast in town. Okay.
Let's
Okay.
go. Let's go.
All right,
Speak it.
everyone.
Bye
Ciao.
bye.
Thank you, Keith.
You're welcome.